The following segment is sponsored by Providence Health and Services. Segment of AM Northwest is brought to you by Family Matters.
Health and education, safety, and the quality of life. KATU and our partners are proud to bring you Family Matters, offering solutions to the hard questions.
Because KATU and Providence Health and Services know that family matters.
You know, hard hits on the football field often lead to concussions, but any young athlete who plays a sport from soccer to cheerleading can sustain a serious injury to the brain if they hit their head hard enough. Here to share more about concussions and the recovery process, we welcome from Providence Rehab, Connie Liu, and from Providence Sports Care Center, Olya Yegorov. Good to have you both with us. Let me start with you, Connie. So how often do you see concussions in young athletes and what sports? We mentioned a few of them, but...
Right. So one, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Actually, majority of the population that we see with concussions are actually from car accidents.
Wow.
And falls.
Like serious car accidents?
No, it doesn't even have to be a serious car accident. It can be just like a little bumper, like a little fender bender. And so
is that because your head gets thrown back oftentimes?
Yeah, and so concussions can happen not just from a hit to your head. It can be a jolt, a blow, or a hit to the head, or even to the body. And so that can happen a lot with car accidents. But in the last few years, we have been kind of seeing a little bit more young athletes and just even school-age kids with concussions. They can happen with playing football, soccer, gymnastics, cheerleading we talked about, and even just in their regular PE class. So.
Oh, interesting. Okay, Olya, so what causes or what contributes to the concussions?
So something that a lot of people don't fully understand when it comes to concussions is it's not about the symptoms as well. It's not just about the symptoms.
Okay.
We identify a concussion with the symptoms and we treat the symptoms and the person experiences the symptoms. But what really happens in the brain is there's a chemical imbalance and a massive energy shortage. And so people who have difficulties with sleep and mental health and have ADHD and have difficulties with nutrition and hydration and stress, those are all factors that can contribute to how they can recover from a concussion.
How they recover from. Mm-hmm. What are the signs of a concussion?
So there can be some physical, cognitive, and even emotional signs and symptoms of concussions. All training coaches are required to get annually trained to be able to recognize these symptoms and seek proper medical attention. And so some of the physical signs can be headaches, migraines, difficulty with sleeping, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, and even blurred vision. And then emotionally, they can feel more anxious, more irritable, and then Olya actually can speak more on the cognitive piece of it.
So difficulties with attention, cognitive endurance, being able to do things like schoolwork or work for a longer period of time, memory, problem solving, planning, thought organization, word finding, those are all signs.
So let's say something happens at home. There's a fall at home. Mm-hmm. What should a parent do then if they think it might be a concussion?
So anytime that a concussion is suspected, I think it is important to seek medical attention.
Okay.
And sometimes these symptoms can happen immediately, but sometimes they can take a few hours or even a few days for these symptoms to kind of come about. And so anytime that a concussion is suspected, I think it is important to seek medical attention.
So I've often heard, and I don't know that this is true or not, but if you're worried you may have gotten a concussion that your child may, you don't want him to sleep.
Nope.
That's true.
That is not true.
It's not true.
Not true. That is something that was said years ago.
Yeah.
It's no longer recommended.
Okay.
You want to make sure that the reason you get medical attention is you want to make sure that the person doesn't have a brain bleed or a skull fracture or other structural damage that can contribute to things like greater difficulties and death, right? But generally, you actually want to rest and you want to sleep if you know that it's a concussion and not a brain bleed, and gradually return to the things that are important to you, like school and work, and get help for difficulties that you're experiencing, like balance problems, vision problems, and cognitive problems.
What is the recovery process like?
So, I mean, it can vary between person to person, and a lot of different factors can also come into play. So any pre-existing conditions, like any learning disabilities, prior concussions that people have had, family history as well, and then, and it can, Well, one, I guess, seeking out that medical professional
Right.
first, and then the different therapies that are involved can be speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, which is kind of our piece of that.
Can concussions cause lifelong problems?
Yes. Most people recover well from concussions.
Sure.
However, folks who have a harder recovery could develop more mental health challenges throughout their life. In general, any kind of a head injury puts a person at higher risk for more head injuries,
Sure.
but also for things like dementia down the road. It's really important to understand what can contribute to that, though, because in my opinion, if you understand the risks, you can actually do things to work on preventing that from happening, like working your brain and brain stimulation and making sure that you're taking care of your
Yeah.
brain in the best possible way.
Wow, absolutely fascinating. Thank you. Some valuable information here. I want to tell everyone, if you'd like to find out more about concussion care, just go to KATU.com/Family Matters or contact Providence Health and Services. Thank you both so much.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having
it.
us.
You bet.